Hello guys, welcome to episode number 73 of my European Journeyman save here in Football Manager 2023, where you join us in our 8th nation on our quest to win every European top flight league in the base game. We are in Slovakia. We are the manager of Podbrezova. As you can see from the table there on the right hand side, we did actually survive relegation at the end of the last season, and in the end it was actually quite comfortable. It is the start of the new season today, but we will have a quick glance back over obviously what happened at the end of last season. You were here for our first game in charge of Podbrezova, the 2-2 draw with FC Kasice. We then went on a nice unbeaten run. A 2-0 win over Slovakia, a 1-0 win over Trenchin, a draw with Zlate Moravci. We then picked up another win, 3 wins in a row, and then a draw. We had a very, very good end to the season, and in terms of where we actually finished in the table, if we just have a quick look, we actually finished in 8th place, 6 points clear of the drop. Because we were looking so comfortable as well, I decided not to come back at the end of last season and come straight to the start of the second season. You can see there that Trnava were actually crowned the champions. Slovan Bratislava actually finished down in 3rd. Their manager was insecure for a little while. Unfortunately, it didn't become available. One that did become available, though, was Dunstrada there, who finished in 5th place with the prediction of finishing 2nd. Now, I did apply for the job. I had the interview. Unfortunately, they turned me down. So we're not quite at the point yet where we can just walk into any job. If I'm getting turned down by Dunstrada in the Slovak First Division, then we are not quite there as a manager yet in terms of our reputation, which, as things currently stand, we've dropped some again. We're down to 55%. We're only considered fairly good reputation-wise, but we can now speak Slovakian quite well. Poprad also survived. They are still in the 2nd division. They finished in 13th place. They've actually improved their squad as well. They're predicted to finish 11th this season. In terms of us, though, we have spent a lot of money. We've got our first ever £1 million signing in this save, and I can't wait to see how he does. So, transfer-wise, we'll go through the history. Now then, there's been a lot of players go out. I have let a lot of them go. Just dead wood that was sitting around the club. So there's a lot gone on freeze. There's loads gone out on loan just to try and free up some wage budget for us. But in terms of ins, let's start with the first one through the door, which was Juraj Zavara. He is more of a fringe player. He's as you can see there on the screen, a squad player. Can play in central defence, which is what I brought him in for. He's not too bad of a player for that sort of position, other than the fact he can't jump and he can't head. But it's some cover, which is what I brought him in for. He's on £500 a week, so not massive amounts. He was a free transfer as well, so I'm not really too disheartened by that. Now, Juraj Sedlak cost me £325,000. Another central defender. This one's actually pretty decent, and he is considered to be an important player. Unfortunately, he is injured at the minute, so he won't be making his debut today. But he's consistent, good performer. Considered a good player for most First Division sides. Like I say, enjoys big matches as well. So quite excited to see what Juraj can do there. Next one in was Erik Michaelisson. Slightly older Norwegian. He's come in as a midfielder, centre of midfield. Really felt that we needed some strengthening in the middle of the park. He has come in on a free transfer, having spent his entire career at Ready in Norway. They're not a great team in Norway, but just look at his average rating over his career. He's done very, very well. So a little bit older than I would like, but he does improve the squad. And then we get to our first ever £1 million signing. It is Yusuf Taş. He's come in from Samsunspor in Turkey. He is a 18-year-old centre forward. He is coming as the new advanced forward in the squad. The one thing that I don't like about him is his injury proneness, but he's considered to be a leading player for most First Division sides. So we've got a fantastic capture here in Yusuf. Price tag was probably a bit more than I wanted to pay for him. We've managed to get him in at 1.5k a week as well. He's not banged the goals in his career, but he is just a young man. He will still develop. I probably could have done better, maybe, but our first ever £1 million signing. There he is. After 20 years. 20 years. In fact, it's 21 now. We've completed 21 seasons, 20 seasons. I don't know, I've lost track now, but it took us this long to sign our first ever £1 million player. Mohamed Faye was next, £18,000. He is another older player, a Senegalese player. Left wing back, improvement in that position. Have brought in another left wing back as well. Unfortunately, he doesn't like big matches, but he is consistent. He's also considered to be a good player for most First Division sides. His physicals are still there as well, sort of, for his age. £975 a week, though, is not massive amounts, and it does improve us in that position. Midfield, we've brought in a Gutenberg Gessinger. He is a Brazilian, believe it or not, despite the fact his name seems very, very German. He doesn't have German as a second nationality, but that sounds very... I don't know, I suppose it doesn't really sound German. Anyway, he is another midfielder. Another one come in for a small fee, 1.2k per week wages. 24-year-old, so there is still some improvement to be done. He's in at the Metzala in our system. Again, decent player. Enjoys big matches. Good player for most First Division sides. Consistent as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And we've also brought in Yelkin Ibanez. Now, he is the latest addition to the squad. He is Colombian. Another left wing back. He's got some great physicals. He's only in it as a fringe player, though, on £500 a week, so he's more of a backup player. And there was another player who actually came in, I think it was the end of last season, and it was Marco Antonio, another Brazilian. He is the right wing back for this season. Again, some good attributes for that position, but he's another one who was on a free transfer. He's on £600 a week, so not massive amounts. 20 years old, room to improve. And I'm quite pleased with the capture of him. So where that leaves us in terms of league-wise, if you remember last season when we started, we were at 601 or 451 or something like that to finish second bottom. You can see that I've moved us up to 8th place, which of course is where we finished last season at 51s. But in this save, we love a good underdog story. I'm aiming for the top 4, maybe even top 3 this season. The board just want us to avoid relegation, but I think we can break into this European places. I really think we can with the squad that we've got, and then build from next season. Hopefully Slovan Bratislava have another poor season. They've now not won the title. You know, there's been a couple of times over the last few seasons where they haven't won the title. So hopefully we can get ourselves in there. Anyway, in terms of today's match, we are starting off against Mikulovci, who are predicted to finish ahead of us. It's probably going to be a little bit of a difficult game, but hopefully we can hit the ground running here in Slovakia. I have decided to stick with the newer formation, the 5-3-2, to see how we get on it. I went with it at the end of last season as well, and you've seen by the run of results that we had there that it actually did us pretty well, to be fair, and I'm quite pleased with how it's worked. We did need to change it up. We've used the 4-2-4 for a long time in this save, but it's done as well. But this one's done as well. Do I even have an assistant? That's not a lot of instructions. So this is the lineup for the first game of the season. It is going to be Ondrejka continuing in goal. I'll be honest, I didn't really look for another goalkeeper. I was quite happy with the way Ondrejka played. Chila is on the right side of the central defence. Fairly decent Polish player. He can do a job for us still. Mamadov is an Azerbaijani. He is another central defender. Maybe not the greatest. This is probably where the new man, the injured one, excuse, I've forgotten his name. Sedlak. This is maybe where Sedlak will drop into the squad. Sebol on the other side. Again, maybe not the greatest defender, but he's not actually that bad. We do have other options as well there in terms of Kukaka, I think, can play in central defence. He's got some good attributes for that position. Marco Antonio and Faye, the two new wing-backs, right and left. Box-to-box midfielder this season is not going to be Koval. Koval is more of a backup. He can play anywhere across that front three, though. It is actually going to be Mario Weiss. Mario Weiss has just come back from an injury, though. Unfortunately, he does want to leave at the end of his contract, but Mario Weiss he's actually proven to be quite a good player for me at the end of last season. It does say there he's transfer listed, though. Mikhailison and Gessinger, the two new midfielders there, come in. Lloydell has done really, really well for us. He had a great end to last season. He's a very, very good forward for the level we're at. We've also got Pavel Simko here, still another good forward. So the interchangeable between them, the two forwards. So Marcel Lloydell is going to start off as the deep line forward today, and then it's going to be the new man Yusuf as the advanced forward, the man who's going to be bagging us the goals, and hopefully he does. So we'll get straight into it. That's the first lineup of the season. Give these guys some squad numbers, and hopefully we can pick up the result against Michalovci. And we're underway in our first full season as the manager of Podbrezova, and we've given away a penalty 15 minutes into our first full season. That's a really good start. Michalovci with the chance to go ahead early on in this game. I missed who fouled him, but it's going to be Riska to take the penalty, and it's calmly tucked away. Thomas Riska with his first goal of the season sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. Great start to the season there for Podbrezova. It'd be nice if we could now have some form of comeback. I don't want to start on the back foot. Like I said, I do want to get into those European places this season with Podbrezova. I do not want to be in a relegation battle. That is not where we need to be in this save. I think I've done the right thing in leaving Poprad at the end of last season to come to Podbrezova. It would have took me a long time to get Poprad to the level required, and it's been quite a quiet first half. We've not really done anything going forward. We've barely seen the ball. Marco Antonio's also picked up an early injury, which is not great. The tactic that we do play with now, though, doesn't really lend itself to possession-based football. We don't create a lot of chances. It's more about being defensively solid, which if you've watched the previous 2021 seasons, is something that you know that we don't do. We are not defensively solid, so hopefully we can change that as Chila looks for Fai on that one. Fai gets there, and his head has gone harmlessly over the bar, but that's a bit better from Podbrezova. At least we've actually done something now. Slovan Bratislava are 6-0 up apparently in their game. Gessinger with a corner towards Chila. Chila gets his head on it, but it's gone over the bar. Now this does say that this fixture was actually scheduled for later today, and Slovan, as you can see, are not showing up in the live league table, but they are beating Presov, the newly promoted side, 6-0, which is a very, very daunting prospect already as far as Slovan Bratislava are in the league table. We've not really offered anything in this game, though. Saying that, though, we've got a late chance here. Sabol looking for the ball over the top towards Koval. Koval's in behind. Can he pull it across for a teammate? He pulls it back for Yusuf, the £1 million man. And he's dragged it. He's on a 6.1 as Yusuf, I've just noticed. Not great from our most expensive signing ever, really, is it? A 6.1, 6.2 now. We're approaching the end of this game, and it does look like we're going to start our season in the Slovak first tier with a defeat, unfortunately. Sabol plays the ball back to Ondrejeka. To Sabol, Chila, now into Michelson. Forward to Lloydell. Koval, we've moved the ball around well here. Here's Yusuf, and Yusuf can't get on the end of it. It's easily cut out by the Michalovci defender, who's spread the ball out to the left. Now it's Riska into Horniak, back to Riska again. I think we're just waiting for the referee to blow the full-time whistle now. They've switched the play again towards Beno, and there is the full-time whistle. That's a disappointing start to the season. Yusuf Tash with a shocking performance on his debut for the most expensive man in my history as a manager on this save. Not what I was expecting. Not what I was expecting at all from the young Turk there. And one thing I've just realised as well, guys, is because this journalist has just told me that was my first defeat as the manager of Podbrezova. Obviously, we did, 9 games at the end of last season, 8-9 games at the end of last season. That's my first defeat. So a doubly bad start to the season. All right, and at the end of the first game, that does leave us in 8th position. Slovan Bratislava at the top after that thumping 6-0 win over newly promoted Podbrezova, I will keep an eye on things throughout the season. I'm always looking for job opportunities. We're not tied to one club in these nations. So if it doesn't work out at Podbrezova and I can get into a bigger team because they're underperforming, that would be fantastic, and I'll jump straight on the opportunity. Got to remember, the aim of this save is to win the leagues, win the top tier league. The quicker we can do that, the better, so we can move on to the next nation, which in this case is Poland. So if a job becomes available, I'll go for it. Maybe Dunstrader should have took me on. That would have been great, wouldn't it? But guys, thank you for watching again. Thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure as always. Looking forward to what I can do with Podbrezova, providing I'm here. The transfer window is still open though, although financially the club's in a bit of a hole. The board have just injected £500,000 into us. With 2.8 million in debt. I spent all the transfer budget. I still do have 6k wages to play with though, so I'll have to see. But guys, thank you, like I said, for being here. It's been, like I said, a pleasure. Please remember to hit that thumbs up button for me though. Hit that subscribe button as well. It does help me out, and I appreciate it. But yeah, guys, I'll see you all in the next episode. I'm going to come back a third of the way through the season, and we'll see how we're getting on. Cheers, guys.